I couldn't go anywhere without a woman grabbing me by my shoulders and saying like, Kendra, like, what did you give me in that little pot? Like, for the first time in my whole life of living here, it works. My skin feels good. My wrinkles look softer. Everything just feels amazing. What was it?
Yeah.
And I kind of knew right away that I was still using clinical ingredients in the formula that every other brand that I was selling in the stores was using.
Okay. And then you just added.
I added in these wild plants that had figured out a way to survive and adapt and flourish in this very extreme climate.
Yeah.
So I just put the plants in, and the results went from like here to here, like almost overnight. I could see a difference in people's skin. And that's when I was like, wow, this is something.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be something.
Did you try it on yourself first, or did you?
Oh, of course. I tried it on myself. I was like, let me make sure this is like.
You're like, let me make sure this is good before like everyone knows where I live.
Exactly. Yeah. My face isn't going to fall off or something.
Yeah.
So I tried it on myself first, and I was like, wow, like that's a moisturizer, because it was the first product that I wrote the formula for, which was Melt Moisturizer. And I knew right away, but you never know with your own. It's like you have to just give it out to other people to see. It's like everybody thinks their child is adorable and cute. And like it's the other people that are like, actually, the child is a terror. I knew I had to start giving it out because my own opinion didn't matter, even though I had a skincare background. Like I knew right away that it was pretty good, but I wanted to see what everybody else thought.
Give me a little bit more of this timeline. You moved to Jackson Hole.
Yep.
8 days later, you're like, I have to do something else besides take care of my baby.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, you start working on the idea of the beauty bar.
Yep.
Alpyn Beauty Bar.
The stores. I got the stores going. Yeah.
Okay. And then, but how long did it take you to do the store? It's a fruition.
The store was pretty fast. I did like a shop within a shop was what I did for the store.
Okay.
So
great.
there was a really popular store right in Town Square, which is like the center of town. And I was in the store and I noticed they had a back area that they were just putting like UPS boxes in.
Okay.
And it was a wasted space. So I went to that store owner and I said, hey, can I open a little store in the back of your store, pay you a fraction of the rent that you pay, probably, and I'll bring traffic into your store because it's going to be beauty products and people love beauty products.
Yeah.
So that's how I got that location. And she was that store owner was the first person who opened a door for me. But that was probably from the moment I landed in Jackson Hole. It was probably about 3 months later that I opened the first store. It was all kind of threes. Yeah, it was kind of like threes now that I think about it.
Yeah.
So I opened that first store, and then a few months later I opened the second store. And I was in the stores for about a year before I started to figure out that there was a problem with everything I was selling.
Yeah.
And looking at my returns and seeing the balance sheet, and I was just wow, like people are just not happy with this merchandised curation of products. And I'm selling like the best things in the business. Like the skincare companies that were top sellers at Sephora is what I had in the stores.
Right.
And it was the first time in my career I saw clinical formulas alone not be enough for the skin in this high altitude climate in town.
It's also really genius that you put it in a store because people were already in that store.
Already in that store.
It's so good.
I had to do it that way because look, I couldn't pay the rent in Jackson Hole. I knew I couldn't foot the rent on my own for a big store. I wanted I wanted traffic. I wanted like the best location in town, and I wanted the foot traffic. So I did a store within a store, and it was huge because I've seen other people just try to open businesses on their own, and like you said, if you don't have a brand name, it's hard to get people to come.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tourist town.
Are there time periods where it's busier and time periods when it's less busy?